Good evening and welcome to the October 4, 2023 regular meeting of the Holland City Council. I am Mayor Nathan Box and I am calling this meeting to order. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Byrd.
Present.
Freeman.
Here.
Peters. Corbin. Here. Soul. Arnshorst.
Here.
Hoekstra.
Here.
Raymond. Here. Mayor Box.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Wonderful, thank you. We're going to begin this evening's meeting as we have for many years, first with an opening prayer, followed immediately by the Pledge of Allegiance, and we would invite you to join us if you're so inclined. I invite you to join me in prayer. Lord, thank you for a beautiful day and a string of beautiful days. As the seasons change, we think about the future, the coming of the holidays, the ability to spend time with family, loved ones that we may not have seen in many days, weeks, months, or years, Lord. But tonight we have a job to do, to serve the people of the city of Holland. Let us be thoughtful. Let us listen to one another. Let us engage in good conversation and discussion to come up with good solutions for the people of the city of Holland. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda are our consent agenda items. These are items that are considered to be fairly routine. They've been reviewed by council as part of our council packet, and they will be enacted in one motion unless a member of the public or a member of council asks to have the item removed from the consent agenda, and then we will place it in its regular order on the regular agenda. But before I ask if anyone would like to do that, Kathy, would you please review the consent agenda for us?
4A, absence excused. 4B, approval of minutes, September 20, 2023 regular meeting, and September 27, 2023 study session. 4C, oaths of office. 4D, city clerk. BAM Entertainment Center, new business licenses. 4E, city clerk, early voting, Ottawa County clerk, approval of amendment. 4F, transportation services, set hearing for October 18, 2023 for final adoption of the 6th Street Snow Melt Improvement Special Assessment Rule. 4G, transportation services, award bid, 32nd Street culvert replacement and downstream improvements to the Weller Drain. 4H, community and neighborhood services, proposed policy for banners in the public right-of-way. 4I, parks and recreation, award bid for 5-year parks and recreation master plan. 4J, finance, purchasing, police division, declare items as surplus, firearms. 4K, public safety services, renew existing contract with Flock safety cameras. 4L, management administrative services, fiscal year 2024 strategic plan and business plan, quarterly progress update, July through September 2023. 4M, management administrative services, Downtown Development Authority, board appointment. 4N, management and administrative services, appointment correction, Tulip Time Board of Directors.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. Is there any member of the public that would like to have an item removed from consent and placed on the regular agenda? Seeing none. Any member of council that would like to have an item removed from consent and placed on the regular agenda? Seeing none there either. What is the pleasure of council in regard to the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent items 4A through 4N.
Moved by Corbin. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Byrd. Any discussion? Seeing none. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Byrd.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Arnshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public comment. Under the Open Meetings Act of the State of Michigan, we provide the public the opportunity not only to attend our meetings, but to participate in our meetings as well. And we provide an opportunity during every meeting where any member of the public can come forward and speak about any topic that they want. We do have some rules, however. One is you're limited to speak at one time per meeting at public comment. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes, and it is one-way communication. It's an opportunity for you to speak to us. We don't answer questions during this time or engage in a discussion or debate, but it's an opportunity for you to talk about what you think is important. To help you keep your time, there are 3 lights on the dais in front of me. There's a red light, a yellow light, and a green light. The green light means that you're doing well on time. The yellow light means that you have 1 minute left, and the green light means that your time has, red light means that your time has expired. I got those backwards this time. I don't know. Red light means your time has expired, and we are strict about that. With that being said, if there's anyone here who would like to address council at this time, please come forward and please state your name and municipality for the record. Is there anyone who would like to address council? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record, please?
Ann Henriksen, Zealand. What a wonderful night to be with people to share in the great new homes, Vista Green, being built by Lakeshore Habitat for Humanity and Jubilee Ministries. The success of this project is due to the council releasing this land parcel to these ministries, all the donors, and I'm happy to say I'm one, the hard work of the volunteers and experts to make these homes well built, donated supplies, promised Discovery Park, the new owners, homeowners, and so much more. Most of all, we thank God for the majority of people who come together in faith in Jesus Christ to make this happen in His name. I can say this because of the faith of the director, Don Wilkinson. He is an amazing man of God and demonstrates it with no shame or reluctance. Lakeshore Habitat is evidence of this. He is known for his faith even more so than the success of Habitat. That is just the way he wants it. Holland is known for its Christian faith. Van Raalte, its founder, was persecuted for his belief in Jesus Christ while living in the Netherlands. This persecution strengthened his determination to establish this city with the unshakable love for the Word of God and God's power. People in this city stand on Van Raalte's shoulders. Holland is a great city of faith. As I travel around talking to people about the next election and what has happened to Holland, people have not forgotten what took place in the 2019 election. They have not forgotten the events that happened at the drag show at the Civic Center, and now what has happened at the 2023 Pride Festival, taxpayer funded through the Holland Human Relations Commission. The drag queen story time with children what secretly did happen at the Presbyterian Church. Citizens' eyes are open up to what their children find at the Herrick Library and school libraries. As I rethink the League of Women Voters Forum, many things stand out, but one I mention here. Mayor Bach spoke about the comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinance. Comprehensive is a term used in the sex education instruction in public schools. Comprehensive sex education is used for the Ottawa County Special Needs Adults curriculum. Why is this troubling for children, teens, and special needs adults? Because it's called comprehensive, meaning all forms of sexual expression, including self-sex, lesbian sex, gay sex, bisexual instructions, plus discussions of gender identity and necessary surgeries and medication for transgender. A comprehensive anti-discrimination ordinance is based primarily for the purpose of sexual orientation, passed by this council, is fruit of the sexual indoctrination of our young people. The ordinance was meant for anti-discrimination, housing, and employment, then was added accommodations. This is where comprehensive sex education sneaks in. My purpose for saying this is not to imply that faith in Jesus Christ results in hating LGBT people. No, faith in Jesus Christ is loving God, loving others, loving ourselves as one made in God's image. Then out of that should flow God's love for others by his Spirit. This changes lives by his power. This is what love is. Read 1 Corinthians 13. Does that sound like sexual behavior processed, taught, and expressed in comprehensive ways is God's plan for everyone? This is not about people, it's about behavior. Holland, Michigan, this is evidence before you. Stand strong in your faith and God's word. Pray, vote, but make sure you know who you vote for and what they stand for. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record, please?
My name is Esther Fifelsky, and I work for the City of Holland. Mayor and City Council, I want to thank you for your support of the International Festival of Holland. Leading up to these events, we did many things here at City Hall. First, we hosted the Consul General of Mexico here in Holland, and he did a presentation for us. We also welcomed over 209 new Americans from 54 different countries at the Holland Civic Center place. Our Holland Public School Orchestra, under the direction of Kay O'Neill, performed beautifully. We also had our Holland Public Safety Honor Guard do their presentation of the flags. It was just a lovely day. I do want to speak a little bit about the Honorable Robert J. Yonker, who spoke at this event. In particular, I want to know he was a former Holland High School student and obviously was very proud of being a student of Holland High School. He welcomed our new Americans, and he quoted bipartisan presidents' perspectives on new Americans. But more important, he recognized that many were leaving their home countries to state their allegiance to the United States of America. He welcomed them by inviting them to remember where they came from, their traditions and their celebrations, and to continue to honor them and to share them with our community. He noted, "This is what makes America great, the diversity of our great nation. Here the City of Holland sets itself apart. Though not perfect, it continues to work to be a more welcoming community where all have a sense of belonging. I am so proud to serve this city." The highlight of the week, of course, was the International Festival. We had a tremendous turnout, starting with our World Arena Soccer Jamboree at Collin Park, sponsored by Hayworth Helps. And then we went on to the opening act of the Pokagon tribe of the Potawatomi, to the flag parade toward the end of the event, and our final presentation of Changui Mahadero. Our flag parade was absolutely wonderful and celebratory. I wish that you all could have been there to see it. And I expect that that will continue to grow in the future. Of course, this event would not be possible without our sponsors, too many to name. Our city attorney, who worked tirelessly with me to review entertainment contracts, Chris Hart and his team at the Civic Center, our community partners, our city departments who bend over backwards to help me at the last minute, and our volunteers. Finally, I want to thank you for sharing City Council Member Hoekstra with the International Relations Commission. He has been a wonderful liaison. He has faithfully served and always been behind us 1,000%. Honestly, I don't think I could do this without his support, and I just want to share that with you. I want to celebrate what we have here in Holland, so thank you very much for your support in these initiatives.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? And would you please state your name and municipality for the record?
Yeah, Matthew Van Zetten, here in the city of Holland on 18th Street. I want to thank the Holland Youth Advisory Committee leadership with Esther and Joan over the past few years. Tonight my son's a senior and will be recognized, but my daughter went through the program as well. And I think this is one of the finest things the city does to get young people involved in learning about local government and how it works. And it's kind of an extra, but I appreciate the time and effort the city gives, not only the kids from Holland, but the greater Holland community, the opportunity to serve. So I want to thank you for that. I also want to ask you to look at your rules about public comment. I've been coming to these meetings occasionally for about 3 years now, and I pretty much hear the same comment about this ordinance and the lack of, or the hurt or harm that it's caused the Christian church and community. Not everyone in the Christian church believes the same thing. And I'm really tired of hearing the same hateful language over and over again. There's an election coming up, people can vote, they can choose what they want to do. But there's no reason in public comment to have the same issue over and over. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It has no standing anymore. It doesn't reflect the business of our city, of what's on this agenda. And I think it could be looked at in your rules with your city attorney as to how to curtail this kind of continual language that harms kids who might identify as LGBTQ. It hurts our business community when people hear this kind of language over and over and they think this is what our community believes in. And when we're trying to recruit nationally, internationally, LG's North American headquarters potentially coming here, and this is what is representative of our community, it's tiring. It's time to be done. It happens every 2 weeks. And I'm tired of listening to it on TV, and I'm tired of seeing it when I come here, because I think it harms our community. So I'd really encourage Mayor Box, you to sit down with your council and see if your rules for public comment could be tailored somehow to limit this kind of continual language that serves no purpose anymore, and decisions been made. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address council at this time? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Next item on the agenda, special presentations and recognitions from mayor or council or city manager. The Holland Youth Advisory Council, HYAC. Introduction, appointments, and reappointments to boards, committees, and commissions. Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council and viewing public and those here tonight. You know, I could make a joke. We have a wonderful audience tonight. Hi, everybody. And, you know, we could like say, hey, you want to see how our business goes? So we could like delay this till later in the agenda and you could see. But I think that would probably cause a problem. But we're so thankful for Esther, who spoke earlier as the leader of this department, and Joan, who's going to talk momentarily and does such a great job with the Holland Youth Advisory Council. We're so thankful for the students, though, that continually, year after year, are integrated into our operations, hopefully learn a little bit, and hopefully we continue to learn from all of you. So we celebrate you tonight. We're thankful for all of you. We're thankful for all the parents that came along out here too tonight. So Joan, take it away and introduce this great program. And better kids. Young people. They're
Okay. If the students will stand up, the ones that are going to speak, they're going to announce the names of the HYAC students for this year. You can go ahead and get in line behind Amelia.
It is our pleasure to introduce Holland Scholars joining the Holland Youth Advisory Council for the 2023-2024 academic year. Holland Youth Advisory Core Council are Abraham Hernandez from West Ottawa High School, Ahava Lefebvre from Holland High School, Amelia Traver from West Ottawa High School, Angel Venangas from Holland Christian High School, Eva San Pedro from Black River High School, Ezra Van Zetten from Zeeland East High School, Greta Bast from Black River High School, Hayden Bauman from Black River High School, Henry Mulder from Holland High School, Ice Bearden from West Ottawa High School, Mikhail Salazar from Holland High School, and Yaslin Ochoa from Holland High School.
Great. Before you step down, could you let us know who you are, though, also?
I am Amelia Traver.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
The HYAC members of the social service committees are Amelia Traver from West Ottawa High School, Anna Tusing from Holland Christian High School, Brisa Sendova from West Ottawa High School, Jacqueline Barajas from Black River High School, Jacqueline Romero from Holland High School, Joshigi Gordillo Ballinas from West Ottawa High School, Natalie Legg from Holland High School, Owen Youngblood from West Ottawa High School, Ricky Rodriguez from West Ottawa High School, and Ruby Van Heist from Holland High School.
Excellent. And before you go to, and I'm going to say this to the other two behind you, please let us know who you are as well, because I know you've attended our meetings, but the people who are watching at home don't necessarily know who you are, and we'd love for them to know.
Ezra Van Zetten.
Great. Thank you.
All right, and for the Recreation Committee, the members are Armando Moreno from West Ottawa High School, Henrik Baumann from Black River High School, Henry Mulder from Holland High School, Isaac Hagemeyer, who is homeschooled, June McDonald from Black River High School, Carolina Martinez from Holland High School, Kylina Zainhachak from West Ottawa High School, Molly Huggett from Holland High School, and Nikki Markovich from West Ottawa High School. And I'm Henry Mulder
Great.
from Holland
Thank
High
you.
School. Yeah.
Great. The members of the Environmental Committee for HIAC are Ben Fletter from Holland High School, Betsy Arenas Valero from West Ottawa High School, El San Pedro from Black River High School, Eva San Pedro from Black River High School, Jacqueline Barajas from West Ottawa High School, Noah Alvarez from West Ottawa High School, Owen Steimer from Black River High School, Reese Youngblood from West Ottawa High School, Ricky Rodriguez from West Ottawa High School, and Spencer White from West Ottawa High School. And I'm Eva San Pedro.
Great. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yanisa Ochoa, and I will be presenting Holland Youth on Boards. Starting off with Abraham Hernandez from West Ottawa High School will serve on the Max Transit Authority. Ahava Lefebvre from Holland High School will serve on the Historic Planning Commission. Angel Venegas from Holland Christian High School will serve on the Human Relations Commission. Ezra Van Zetten from Zeeland East High School will serve on Parks and Recreation. Greta Bass from Black River High School will serve on Neighborhood Improvement. Hayden Bauman from Black River High School will serve on Planning Commission. Ice Badran from West Ottawa High School will serve on Police Community Relations. Jacqueline Romero from Holland High School will serve on International Relations Commission. Mikael Salazar from Holland High School will serve on Teen Court. Sydney Ojeda from West Zeeland West High School will serve on Teen Court. Yanis Ochoa from Holland High School will serve on Human Relations Commission and International Relations Commission. Yeslin Ochoa from Holland High School will serve on International Relations Commission. Please join me in welcoming the 2023 and 24 Holland Youth Advisory Council and Holland Youth on Boards. Thank you.
Well done and welcome. And I'll open up if any member of council have comments for HIAC. Joan, are you done? Are you all set?
I just wanted to let the students and parents know that we're going to have a reception in the atrium just down the hallway there as soon as we're done here.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments, questions from council. Mr. Byrd.
Yes. So there's a lot to be said. People say you guys are too young, or I've heard the comments, or we might be in trouble because of our youth. When I see you guys up here doing what you're doing, unashamed, doing what you want to do, chase after dreams, and being leaders, really is what it boils down to. I think we're going to be in good hands. When I'm older and I'm sitting back and I'm done making decisions outside of what I'm going to eat for breakfast, I'm really glad to have you guys representing us. Whatever field, wherever you are, if it's in government, if it's in life in general, I think our country's going to be in good hands. So I appreciate what you guys are doing, stepping out. Some people are out having fun, hanging out, but you guys take the extra time to go out and do leadership things, go out and build your character. So I'm really proud of you guys. And I'm speaking as a dad, so, and you too, even though you're sitting way over there and all those kids. So thank you very much for what you're doing. Thank you for being, and if you got siblings, push them to do the same thing, right? Push them to step out, because I'm sure this wasn't easy for all of you guys when you first started, right? Getting in front of us or getting in front of a group of older people and speaking your mind, speaking your desires and what you want to do. So kudos to you and keep doing it. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Freeman.
Just congratulations. I'm excited for your school year and your participation this year. And one thing I would ask you, as you sit in different meetings and listen to conversations, if you don't know what's taking place or need clarification, ask those questions. Sometimes in meetings there's not clarification of a certain topic or what has been protocol, and I think it's very helpful for you to ask questions and to feel free to make that happen. And it puts some pressure on the leaders to be able to explain what's taking place in a concise manner. So way to go, make it happen.
Ms. Raymond.
Yeah, I'd also like to add to Tim's comment, and please feel free to speak up and offer your opinions. I know some of you attend our meetings and offer public comment, but I think that we can all say that we've learned from you during meetings when you've offered your opinions about the topic that we're discussing. So please feel encouraged to do that and know that we welcome your input.
I'll say one thing.
Ms. Airsource.
I'll say what Belinda would say. She's on her way here. She would say, we'd love to have you come and participate, and someday maybe you'll be where we're sitting, either if not in Holland, in some other city. So you're the next leaders.
One of the great things about speaking last is they say all of the really great stuff, so there's not much left for me to be able to say, except a lot of the decisions that we make are decisions that are going to impact you more than they're going to impact us. I read 16 letters today from sixth graders at a local school where they were providing input on our park system, on what we plan on doing with the ice skating rink, with the recreation center. And I was sharing that with the assistant city manager, and he walks over behind his desk and he shows me a drawing that he had been working with a group of sixth graders on design ideas for the new recreation center. And he said it really well. He said, this recreation center is not for me. It's not for his kids because they're going to be older. It's for you. And the fact that you guys are taking the time to help us make decisions that are going to benefit you is incredibly valuable. So thank you for stepping up and doing this. And I echo everything the other members of council said. Thank you for working on your leadership skills. Thank you for taking the time. You are going to be sitting in these seats or seats like them, and the experience that you're getting here is going to be invaluable for that. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. And yes, please, get your siblings to come and do this as well, because we need your input. Thank you very much. And one more round of applause for our HIAC students. And then I'll be really nice and I'll excuse you and you can go to your reception and you don't have to sit through the rest of our meeting. Unless you want to. It's going to be really exciting. I know, Mr. Van Beek, I oversell how exciting things are going to be. Exactly. We'll give them another minute or two to work their way out, and then we'll move on to item 7, special order of the day public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, and I will outline for you all, and we just had a little bit of a mix-up this time where there's letters that go out that notify people, and for the veterans here, you know, we have this like 3-stage process that we do with these processes every time. And we missed the day by a couple days. So the 3 items tonight for the parking operations and maintenance assessment, and for the snowmelt operations and maintenance assessment, and the principal shopping district assessment, before you are adopting a resolution to approve those assessment rolls, and they're all part of a public hearing. We're actually asking that you would table all of those this evening to a date certain, which would be the next meeting. So our recommendation is that you would take individual action on all 3 of these, table them, and then we'll handle them on October 18.
Just a matter of clarification. I like to think I'm a bureaucrat whisperer. So what you're saying is this is a transparency in government and noticing issue that with everything we do, we have requirements oftentimes to provide public notice or provide individual notices to people. We need to do those in very particular ways and for very particular timeframes. And on this one, we realized we may have been a day or two off. So rather than moving forward with not making that deadline, we're pushing off the decision so that we can make sure that the people who are entitled to notice of this potential decision have the appropriate notice for that. Is that correct?
Very good. We are not perfect, but we try to do things right.
Excellent. Great. Thank you.
Motion to table item 7A till next regular council session on October 18, 2023.
I've got a motion. Do we have support?
Support.
Moved by Corbin, support by Vreeman. Any discussion?
I
Mr.
just
Byrd?
wanted clarification on this. This is 7A, 7B, and 7C, correct?
Negative. 7A is the only motion I made at the moment.
Right, but this.
They apply equally to all three, but we're recommending and you have before you taking action first on just A.
7A.
But you'll do those in three different actions.
All right, so we're going to do that for 7A, 7B, and 7C.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions, comments? It's been moved. It's been supported. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Vreeman.
Yes.
Corbin. Ernshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of council in regard to item 7B?
Motion table item 7B until the next regular council meeting on October 18, 2023.
Support.
Moved by Corbin, support by Vreeman. Any discussion? Seeing none, Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Corbin.
Yes.
Ernshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Vreeman.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. What is pleasure of council in regard to item 7C?
Motion table item 7C until next regular council session meeting on October 18, 2023.
Support.
Moved by Corbin, support by Vreeman. Any discussion? Seeing none, Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Ernshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Vreeman.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Next item, item 8, unfinished business. 8A, traffic changes, parking change on Lincoln and College Avenues.
Motion removed from the table.
Moved by Corbin to remove this item from the table. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Hoekstra. Mr. Duckworth, can we just do a voice vote on this? Or would you rather have a roll call? Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Yeah, probably roll call.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Vreeman.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Ernshorst.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, we have the item back on the table. Mr. Van Beek.
Yes, so this is that process again, and then I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Van Dyken for any specifics, just to go through it. He reviewed it today with City Engineer White. Recall that when we get requests sometimes from the community, we'll send those to the Traffic Committee. And if the Traffic Committee recommends a change, then what we do is similar. We notify the community more broadly in the first step. Let them know what the recommendation would be to do, and then you table that motion at that point and bring it back at a later date. And it gives an opportunity for anyone to have questions, concerns, comments, and then tonight you took it off the table, and then you're taking a look at possibly taking action on the recommendation that made to you. And I'm going to hand it off to Matt to describe what we're looking at tonight.
Yeah, so as Keith said, there's two things that come through to you from the traffic committee. The first is prohibiting traffic from parking on the street on Lincoln Avenue between 9th and 16th Street. Currently, that is allowed on both sides. This would prohibit traffic, I believe, on the east side of Lincoln Avenue. We have a visual right here. Thank you, Keith, for turning that for me. And then the second one is at 12th and College. There's a small area at 12th and College that cars are parking too close to the corner. So this would add a no parking here to corner sign on College Avenue northbound.
Any questions for staff? No? No? All right. What is the pleasure of council in regard to 8A, traffic changes? Moved by Hoekstra.
Sorry. Move to approve the recommendation.
Moved by Hoekstra. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Ernshorst. Any discussion? Seeing none. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Raymond,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Corbin. Arnshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Next item on the agenda, item 9, written petitions and communications. In addition to providing the public the opportunity to speak to us directly at our meetings, we also provide an email address where you can send an email that will come to all council members. That is publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Once again, publiccomment@cityofholland.com. Council members receive those emails, and then when we receive them, we read them ourselves and we accept them into the record at our next regular meeting. We don't read them out loud, but we just accept them into the record. We don't have any at this meeting, but I just always like to make that point that that's how you can get a hold of us, by email. Next item on the agenda, item 10A, Planning Commission, 730 East 64th Street rezoning request. Mr. Van Beek.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Again, one of these processes that you've seen this before. For some of you, not only at Planning Commission, but then a first time also here at City Council. So our Community and Neighborhood Services Director, Mark Vanderplug, will ably walk you through this presentation and recommendation.
And do it very quickly.
Very ably.
Yes. So.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Keith. Yes, so you have in front of you tonight a recommendation from the Planning Commission to rezone 730 East 64th Street from the Industrial Zone District to the CMU Corridor Mixed Use District. Okay, so this happens to be a city-owned property, and Mr. Van Dyken was the applicant for this, which is a really kind of interesting, but I think it's good and illustrative that even when the city wants to rezone things, you have to go through the same process that every other private property owner does, and everything is kind of weighed on the merits. So this is a property, it's about 1 to 1.5 acres in size. City Council has declared in the past that it is surplus property and can be offered up for sale. And I believe it's being marketed right now for sale. So the Planning Commission held the required public hearing for this back on September 12. There were no comments offered from the general public. The Planning Commission noted that the rezoning request conforms with the city master plan, and enthusiastically approved a recommendation to council to approve it by a vote of 8-1. And last time, your last business meeting on September 20, council did approve this for first reading of an ordinance amendment.
Great. Any questions for staff?
Actually, so it's 8-1. What was the objection of the person who voted against it?
Oh, I'm sorry. If I said 8-1, I meant 8-0.
Oh, 8-0. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Very good.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for staff? All right. What is the pleasure of council in regard to item 10A?
Move to approve the Planning Commission's recommendation for rezoning.
Moved by Freeman. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Raymond. Any discussion? I just have one comment. Thank you, Mr. Vanderplug, for making that point that we as a city follow the same processes and the same rules that the members of the general public do. I think that that's a great point to make to everyone out there, that we have to do that same process. And we were very tough on Mr. Van Dyken, the applicant at the Planning Commission, so we grilled him pretty heavily. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Byrd.
Yes.
Freeman.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Arnshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Item 10B, Planning Commission text amendments to the Unified Development Ordinance, the UDO, round 9.
Yes.
I'm going to pass it to Mr. Van Beek because that's what I do, but I think I know right where he's going to pass it.
So I think we're all interested. Steve did a presentation last time when we saw this. So we can maybe have Mark go through the presentation again and see if he does it differently than Steve did. Or otherwise, you have before you the recommendation that was presented to you last time, and the ability now in first reading, second reading to actually take action on the recommendations.
All right. Any questions for staff? What is the pleasure of council in regard to item 10B?
Move to approve the text amendments to UDO round 9.
Support.
Moved by Vreeman, support by Byrd. Any discussion? Yes, Mr. Corbin.
Not so much a discussion, but a comment. Everyone knows how passionate I am about single-family homes. We need all housing types. And I'll be honest with you, I constantly and routinely look at any UDO amendments because I question whether or not there's something in there that's going to impact that. And I can tell you at this point in time, I've received a lot of phone calls regarding UDO text amendments. Routinely, I get calls about it, especially in my ward, where there's a lot of single-family homes and a lot of people concerned about it. Probably a lot of people that raised questions about what we were, trying to or attempting to accomplish about probably a year ago. So I've constantly entertained questions from that, but I dug into the text amendments that are currently here. I don't see any impacts to our single-family homes. I just want to make sure everyone listening, as well as council, understands that I'll continually watch for that. But I do appreciate the efforts of the Planning Commission to listen to the community and to be mindful of that, and I do support this motion.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Corbin. And I want to thank you also for digging into the UDO and keeping a close eye on that, because that's one of the things both at Planning Commission and I've asked staff to do here as well, is that because there was so much discussion surrounding that when we were passing UDO, that we have said to staff, this is round 9 of text amendments, and most of these are small little changes. Some of them are fixing grammatical errors or punctuation errors, but we've asked staff continually, let us know if this is a different category. If it's a grammatical error or a punctuation error, that's one thing. But if it's something that we consider a substantive change to UDO, we really want to make sure that we put that in front of council so that council understands the gravity of what it is. And I appreciate your comments on that this does not include any of those substantive changes that may have been things that were controversial under the ordinance. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Freeman.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes.
Arnshorst.
Yes.
Hoekstra.
Yes.
Raymond.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, item 12E 6.1, the gifts. Kathy, would you please review the gifts for us?
City Manager's Office is pleased to report the following gifts. Public Safety Services Department, $28 was collected through Polar Patrol events, and a donation of $1,980 was received from Sean and Sherry Holst in support of various programs. It is recommended that these donations be accepted with appreciation, credited to the appropriate account, and an expression of gratitude be forwarded to said donors.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. What is the pleasure of council in regard to the gifts?
Move to receive those gifts with a token of our appreciation.
Moved by Vreeman. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Ernsthorst. Any discussion? Kathy, would you please call, or actually, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same side. Motion carries. Next item, item number 13, communications from the city manager. Welcome back, Mr. Van Beek.
Thank you. Good to be here and good to speak with you all this evening. I do have a handful of things that I want to go through. First, I'm very sad that I missed it, but very glad that Esther came up and outlined for you not only the International Festival itself, but all of the other events that were connected with that, and thanking Dave for his years of service on that. So maybe all of you will have comments on that also, but I'm just very pleased and thankful for Esther and her continued leadership and work. I was gone because I had back-to-back conferences. First, I was at MERS, the Michigan Employer Retirement System, of which I'm a board member. And I sent out in a communication last week, but the City of Holland was actually the recipient of an award from MERS in this last year for innovative program design, and you all should remember that at least, but you probably do because we adopted a different program and pushed for that, and MERS adopted a different type of retirement vehicle that allowed us to retain several members of our leadership team in our public service department, which was a critical issue that we had identified several years ago in our strategic plan with all of you and put a business plan together and said, okay, we've got to figure out how to solve this. And that was really the key part of getting that done. You approved other things in conjunction with that. So it was nice to be recognized by MERS, and we hope, like many other things that periodically we do here in Holland, that that's something that's picked up and other communities can use that as a solution for their problem also. Then on the heels of that, I went to, and thank you for supporting this, I was in Austin, Texas for the International City and County Managers Association. And this year it was the largest attendance ever. It was 5,500 managers from across the world. And I will let you know that I did have the chance to meet managers from across the world. And it's really the advantage of going to these. Earlier in my career, I had quite often taken the perspective of there's too much work to be done at home. And it's hard to take advantage of these conferences. And I was really challenged that you really can't afford not to periodically go. And it's the first time that I've gone in several years, but I think it's hopefully something that less is of support of my career. It's more support of the community as I serve all of you to share ideas, to get different perspectives, and hopefully come up with different ideas. So I have a list of things that I'm going to be talking to department heads about and some of you about. Who knows if any of it ever, comes to fruition in a really direct way, but I'm convinced that at least in indirect ways, it does bring value back to our communities. So that's enjoyable, but it makes it really busy. And I will say it makes it busy because as I was traveling back today, I got off a plane at a stop, and my phone just suddenly got a whole bunch of voicemails and texts and emails, and it was like something happened. And something did happen today, and I'm guessing that some of the viewing public may just be learning about this, but just want to take a few moments to outline that. I communicated to all of you earlier today about this. I would describe it this way. I think in some ways it's been a not so held secret that LG Energy Solutions, who not only has, for over 12 years now, has a factory in Holland, and then more recently, over the last couple years, went through a process with all of you that got different approvals to do a phase 2 expansion. They have been working with surrounding property owners and have been making statements, quite frankly, in the media about their hope and their dreams to actually expand. We had a speaker tonight that talked about, LG's public communication, although they haven't submitted anything about this, to have their North American headquarters right here in Holland because of the success that they've experienced so far. Well, today, LG announced not only a partnership with Toyota of North America to provide them with batteries, but also announced that they signed a letter incentive profile with the state of Michigan, which at this point, and I'll describe more about this, and please ask me questions also, but it's based upon a $2.5 billion investment that they're looking to make in, once again, in the city of Holland. And of those, there is a significant amount of incentives then primarily provided by the state, a little bit in excess of close to $550 million. The only thing requested of the city, and I'm going to talk momentarily about all of the things that have been asked of the city, which I'm going to say right now for what I'm going to call phase 3, because again, we have phase 1 in the city already and operating. You all approved phase 2, which is being built. This would be what I'm going to call phase 3. the announcement today is very clear in the announcement that the only local approval for the incentive profile would be participation in a Public Act 198. Now, Public Act 198s, all of you are familiar with, but those are what we very commonly have with businesses that either are created or relocate or most commonly expand in the city of Holland. And that's the abatement that I always say it's nice to have 50% of something instead of 100% of nothing, where it's roughly a 50% tax forgiveness partnership for 12 years. And that is the outline of the incentive offer for this Phase 3 with LG. You may be familiar that with both Phase 1 and Phase 2, actually what was approved there were Renaissance zones, which are very specific, targeted, large program incentive packages that are really driven by the state and then are asked after being approved by the state of if the city would want to participate in that or not. Prior councils, we did participate in that in Phase 1 and Phase 2. That is not a request for Phase 3. This is what I would call a more traditional, although very large, it would be a traditional industrial Public Act 198 project. Okay, so that is not before you tonight, and that is one of many things that even though this has been announced and there might be kind of a perspective or a thought that, oh, this is a done deal or anything, it's not. There's multiple things that will go not only before you as a council, but typically they have to be submitted and come through staff before we would make a recommendation on that request. And as you might suspect, there's a lot that has to do with our Holland Board of Public Works also. So, a little bit more about that. It is, from our understanding, and there has been some information shared, but nothing formally submitted. It's been one of those processes, and I'll say that this is not atypical with some of these very large projects where you know that something's out there and they're working with the state on the incentive offer. Most of that communication, quite frankly, typically goes with the state, maybe with our regional economic development team at Lakeshore Advantage, and then the Board of Public Works and city staff are brought in on parts of that. But typically the incentive with the state is signed before more of the details that would come back to the local municipality would come forward. So what we understand is that actually this is, in essence at this point, it doesn't increase the number of jobs at the site. And that's unusual, and quite frankly, that's I would suspect one of the reasons that this isn't a Renaissance zone, but it's a typical 198. And our understanding is that what LG is taking a look at, and really even taking a look at some retrofits that they do in Phase 1, but also the way that they're finalizing the building in Phase 2, and then what they would propose to do, and again, it's a proposal, right? In Phase 3 is that they'd use what's being called smart factory technology, where it's actually utilizes less jobs, and that the number of jobs that they already have in place for Phase 1 and that they committed to in Phase 2 would be enough jobs to actually operate all three of the facilities. Now, quite often, in my career, and I think for a lot of you that have sat up here, quite often we take a look at participating in incentives or not, and we ask about jobs, and that quite often you do incentives or not based upon the expansion of jobs. And I know that we've heard from the community, and we've certainly had discussions with all of you, that this is, we're actually find ourselves in a little bit different time where the low unemployment rate that we have and the competition for all of the Holland and quite frankly regional employers that we have for talent and for jobs is intense right now. So, and then to have the housing for the people that would work at these facilities is also a challenge that we're very actively working on every day. So I think there's a perspective, at least, still more to come because we haven't gotten a proposal submitted yet. So, and I will talk about that here momentarily also. But quite frankly, I think for the most of us, hearing that there's a very large expansion that actually doesn't create more of a burden on having to find jobs in the current market and create homes for those people might actually be a good thing in this case. So a 198, not a rent zone. We're not really expecting that it's an additional of jobs. Still wait to see, there's more information. And then not only for the 198 request, but everything just like we went through the city when we do a rezoning, when we do a site plan for a new fire station, we go through processes, we have to submit things to the planning division and the community and neighborhood services department. That has not been done. So this project is very large, and they will need to submit a site plan and all the things that come along with that site plan, rezoning if necessary. We know that there's a possibility, or at least a discussion that they've raised with us, and I've talked with Fillmore Township about the possibility of not a large, but a small 425 agreement to take some property that's in Fillmore and transfer that into the city. My understanding is that's a very small group of parcels, and that they've already potentially have options on those parcels of land. But again, I want to emphasize we haven't received anything yet, and that will be part of the process moving forward. And you would have to act on the 425. You'd have to act on any rezoning, and certainly site plans and all of those types of things would need to go through our normal processes and would be multiple points of consideration. We also are very thankful for our Holland Board of Public Works, where we know from past phases, this is a project that uses a lot of infrastructure and commodity in water, sewer, and electricity. And we've made very clear that outside of what we normally do with like line extension policies and things and participate with a certain level of infrastructure that we do with anyone, that any infrastructure that's needed above and beyond here is something that the city or the BPW would not participate in paying for those costs, but anything that would be triggered that would be needed would need to come either from the state or from the company. And we've just kind of communicated that back to them, that that's up for them to figure out. But our position is very clear that any necessity and upgrade of infrastructure would need to be paid by other sources and not us here locally or our taxpayers or the users of our utility systems, which again are slightly different in many cases than what our city boundaries are. So again, I think that covers it in what we know for now. I know that later on today, I think a press release went out at about 3 o'clock. So I know it was starting to be covered in the media, and I would suspect that that will gain a good amount of attention tonight and going into tomorrow, and I'm probably going to get a lot of media requests tomorrow, and that's okay. But I wanted to make sure that I went not only obviously through with you, but also very publicly, even though there's not a lot of people here. I know this is on TV, kind of what we know for now. And I don't always love the term talking points, but basically our perspective on this and what we know and what processes would need to be followed moving forward. I hope that gives you a pretty good outline of what we know now. I'm happy to answer any questions, and if I'm not able to answer it, I'll let you know, but that'll be something that we'd figure out moving forward.
Any questions for staff?
I've got
Mr.
a
Corbin.
question for the city manager that's unrelated to this. But-
Okay.
And maybe you can pass it to Mr.
Sure.
Van Dyken, but the property we just discussed this evening about rezoning, I noticed that there were signs that say it's under contract. Does that mean that we have an offer to purchase on that? Yeah, several months ago, you guys actually approved what amounted, you approved what amounted to an option agreement that gave a potential buyer time to do their due diligence. One of the reasons we requested the rezoning tonight is that they need to know that they can use the property for what they want to use the property for the rezoning. So they're continuing to do their due diligence process. Okay, thank you.
And then I do have one other subject too, but I'll give it that uncomfortable pause for any other questions on that topic. Next week, I know in my weekly communications to all of you, I've said that we've been shooting for this. I am very thankful for our larger team. That includes Mr. Van Dyken there and the other end. He has been working hard on several capital projects that we're currently involved with. And one of those that there's a lot of community interest and excitement about is our ice rink. And we get questions about it pretty much every day. And the thing that we've been working towards and getting information about, because as Matt says often, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right the first time as best we can, is we needed to get information about how to construct the ice rink, where we're constructing it, because it's on an interesting site. We've reserved that space at Window on the Waterfront, and it's an interesting site because historically, for those of us that have been around a long time, you know that it was the city dump at one point. And then we made it more interesting by having it be the dredge disposal site on top of that. So we know that it wasn't like we were just going to build an ice rink on top of there and go, oh, like, that'll work great. Right, Matt? So we have worked with a company. You approved a contract with a company to do all the investigations there. We've received or receiving and dissecting that final report. So next week at our study session, what we are doing is we will present to you that information and what we would call at this point the probable total cost of the ice rink. Remember that we will still go out for bid and that you at a later action would still approve the bids on the ice rink. But we always talk about a funnel, right, where you kind of have an idea of what something is going to cost and then you do the work. We're really at almost one of the final phases of that funnel now, where we'll give you a probable estimate of cost, which has really good information, and work with our architect team and subs and that architect team and our general contractor. So we'll have an idea on cost so that you have given us the thumbs up multiple times through this process of continuing to pursue this. What we're also going to do next week is, you're all familiar with our budgeting process, and within that budgeting process, the importance of our long-term financial plan. And the great skill and wisdom of our finance director, Lynn McCammon, who has really been fine-tuning that process and that vehicle to analyze that going out multiple years and putting in different assumptions as we continue to manage the finances of the city. We give you an update periodically throughout the year on how that's going. We're going to give you the update on that next week. And it makes sense because we give you an update on where we stand financially in that long term. That also, we believe, and we'll be giving you a recommendation as we move forward, that we are able to recommend to you to be able to put in monies on top of the various donations that we've gotten from the community, individuals and corporations and a grant that we're still very positive about receiving, that we're in a good financial footing to continue to work towards this very exciting project. So that will be at study session next week. And then we would put that out for bid, and then ultimately would bring that bid package back to you yet this fall. And I knew you wanted that update, so I wanted to give that one to you also. And that's all I have.
All right, great. Any other questions for Mr. Van Beek? Mr. Corbin, you had a comment that you want to make before I did mayoral comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So there was a comment made tonight.
Oh, no, this is Belinda.
Oh, excuse me, that's the one you're talking about.
That's the
Okay,
one
yes.
I'm talking about.
Just for the record, Mr. Mayor, at 6:45 PM, we were, Representative, or councilperson Sold attended this evening's council session.
Great. That's the one I was talking about at that moment. Yep. We'll get to council communications in a moment. Yep. Next item on the agenda, item 14, appointments and communications from the mayor. I just have two things this evening, and they are related to one another. This week is Public Power Week. Why is that important in the city of Holland? Well, we produce our own public power at our beautiful Holland Energy Park, and there's a great opportunity tomorrow night from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can go to the Holland Energy Park Public Power Week Open House. Great educational wing there. You get to see how the power is made. You get to see the history of it. You get to see where snowmelt starts. Great event at Holland Energy Park tomorrow night from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I have a related mayoral proclamation in regard to Energy Efficiency Day. And whereas energy efficiency is the cheapest, quickest, and cleanest way to meet the City of Holland's energy needs, avoid dangerous pollution, and reduce utility bills for residences and businesses in our community. And whereas implementing energy efficiency and other clean energy policies and programs can help boost economic opportunities and job creation while continuing to move the City of Holland toward a sustainable future. And whereas smarter energy use reduces the amount of electricity needed to power our lives, which helps avoid power plant emissions that can harm our health, pollute our air, and warm our climate. And whereas for cities and states like ours that are trying to tackle harmful pollution, energy efficiency can get us about halfway toward our emissions reduction goals. And whereas energy efficiency makes our homes and workspaces healthier, safer, and more comfortable. And whereas cutting energy waste saves U.S. households billions of dollars on their utility bills every year, up to $500 per household from appliance efficiency standards alone. And whereas energy codes for homes and commercial buildings can also significantly reduce utility costs and create new jobs. And whereas the residents of the City of Holland can continue to contribute to our energy efficiency efforts by learning about and participating in our Home Energy 101 educational program. And whereas a nationwide network of energy efficiency groups and partners has designated the first Wednesday in October as National Energy Efficiency Day. And whereas together we can continue to contribute to our sustainability efforts by learning more about energy efficiency and practicing smarter energy use in our daily lives. Now, therefore, I, Nathan Box, Mayor of the City of Holland, Michigan, and members of the Holland City Council, do hereby proclaim October 4, 2023, Energy Efficiency Day. I urge citizens to join us in supporting our clean energy goals and moving toward more energy efficiency now and in the future. Given under my hand and the seal of the City of Holland this 4th day of October 2023, Mayor Nathan Box. And that is all I have. Next item, item 15, appointments, motions, and communications from council members. Mr. Corbin.
So this evening, some comments were made, a public comment. One specifically was requesting the City Council to restrict its public comment and individuals' public comment. We celebrate good governance here. We have a good board that represents that and respects that. And we have a respectful way of which we allow people to speak. And I hear the words harmful being mentioned on several occasions by, let's just say, a variety of people mention how harmful some words are or are being said. I think that's code, if you will, on both sides of the aisle to reflect or to somehow suppress First Amendment rights of free speech. And as long as I'm here, I'll just be very frank, I don't intend to restrict somebody's public comment at all, whether the time that we currently have or what they need to say. I will say that if someone is violating our current rules or the law, we certainly will stop them, as we have always done under our good governance structure. But I will support the freedom of people to come forward and speak what they want to say. I have sat here myself and like my colleagues around the dais, many of us have sat around here till 2:30 in the morning listening to comments being made, some of which we agree with and some which we don't agree with. But we let the public do that. And that's an important part of democracy and our Constitution. And the things that I swore to protect my whole career, my military career, both my military and my public service career. And I intend to do that as a city council member. So I just want to make sure anyone listening knows that I'm steadfast in making sure that public comment and the freedom of speech at public comment is protected.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Mr. Vreeman.
I have a question for Keith, and maybe it's Matt. The traffic light intersection of 9th and Pine, there's been a road closed sign there. There's been reconstruction. The intersection is, the pavement and all that is completed. And I know you're dealing with tons of big things. This seems like a little thing, so I apologize.
It's not a little thing.
Right? I feel like it's bigger, so that's why I'm asking.
I was asked about it this morning.
I'd be happy to fill you in. Supply chain, we haven't heard much about supply chain for a while, but supply chain still impacts even us at the City of Holland periodically. So we have been patiently or impatiently waiting for everything that's needed with the traffic signal that would be installed there. So we can get that finally up and operational the way it was originally designed. And I think probably more information than one you want to know, but by the time the arm came in to attach to the pole, the bolt pattern wasn't right. No fault of our own, but I think we're figuring it out. So we are more eager probably than anyone to get that up and operational the way it was designed, and are doing everything we can to get it completed.
Thank you. And then the other just was a comment. I was at the Civic Center last week for another meeting during the citizens' swearing in ceremony, and what a great use of that space, and all their families and friends that were walking in, and just I was out in the market side during that was all taking place prior to, and meeting people from Eritrea and Ethiopia, where my son is from, and to know that they're being welcomed into our communities and sworn into citizenship. It was just super. So it was good use of space, good community interaction, and I just thrilled that took place in that particular venue. So way to go, whoever made that happen.
Great. Any other council communications? Mr. Hoekstra. You, sir, in the blue shirt.
Thank you very much. First of all, Brother Corbin, free speech is a wonderful thing as long as we do it in a respectful way, so I appreciate your comments and certainly concur with those thoughts. So thank you for bringing that up. I just wanted to speak very briefly about the International Festival last week. We've been putting this festival on for a number of years, and I think this year is probably the best and biggest that it's ever been. Certainly we had more food trucks, which is a big plus. But just the variety of activities that were offered, the music that was part of the festival, and especially the folks who came out to volunteer to help. It was just incredible. Esther and I seem to be in this competition of who can heap on accolades faster and greater. So since she's not here, I just want to say, in typical city employee fashion, she has been a monster, administrative monster, in helping put this thing on, along with Luann and so many other city employees, really helped pull this off. So I was sort of pondering this today while I was in my workshop. That's where I probably do my best thinking. And thinking about immigration, you know, that whole issue. I don't think there's anybody who is not here, who's here as a result of some sort of immigration activity at some point by someone in their history. I mean, our society is built on the idea of immigration. And there's probably nothing that fosters fear and misunderstanding more than a lack of understanding. So to have a festival like this, where people can come together and understand a different culture, different language, different dress, different flag, different food, and come to appreciate it and understand, well, it's different, but it's not scary. Really helps us as a community to develop the notion and the reality of acceptance, and give folks here a sense of belonging. We talk about that a lot as a hallmark of this community. And it's activities like this that help foster that. I agree with you, Tim. If you've never witnessed one of these naturalization ceremonies, it'll bring you to tears, really, because you have all of these folks from different parts of the world so grateful to be here in this country that we take for granted and bash all the time, because that's what we can do. It's just very heartwarming. So thanks to everyone who helped put the festival on. You'll be back next year, probably bigger and better. But kudos to this community for embracing diversity. Thank you.
Councilmember Sol, did you have something?
Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you for being patient. I had a doctor's appointment and was running late. And then there was some traffic on the highway. But I concur with Councilmember Corbin about the First Amendment. As long as we're respectful, definitely we're here to listen to our constituents' freedom of expression of speech. So definitely, you know, that is something that we honor here for all our citizens who choose to come in person or via email. So definitely we encourage our constituents and encourage our citizens to come and speak freely. And we give you the 5 minutes as anyone else if you choose to do so in person or via email. And then also the International Festival, the Human Relations Committee, and Esther and the many teams and many participants. It was amazing to be there, the music, the food, and just everyone coming together. It was a beautiful sight. All the different foods that I was just like, where do I go? And I'm sure it was a hard decision for those of you that were there as well. I chose Indian food, and it was amazing from Kalamazoo. So I'm like, we need some of that downtown, definitely. But then there's also being Hispanic Month. I'm not sure if she came because I missed public comment. I encouraged her to, but I think our council person had brought it up. First Generation, it's going to be at the Park Theater tomorrow. Cynthia Martinez wanted me to extend the invite to City Council and guests to show up tomorrow at the theater downtown, Knickerbocker. I get confused easily. And it just shares the struggles of different students that have overcame the barriers, especially, you know, being sworn in with the ceremony that they have, but just, you know, people that are undocumented and didn't know, and then, you know, navigating the educational system and support, because they are the leaders of tomorrow. And then also, Latin American United for Progress is also going to be sharing something Exit Theater company in Fade. It's called Fade. And this is an intimate and moving play that explores complexities of class and race within the Latin community and how the status does not change who you are at the core. Just to come and, as Dave mentioned, understanding one another. And I think it's beautiful when we try to understand one another. Doesn't necessarily that we have to agree, but just be enlightened or be open-minded to where we can have those conversations, because these are conversations that are happening everywhere, so we need to embrace that. And the more that we are part of that, the olive branch or whatnot, having these opportunities in our backyard, I think it's important for our citizens and for ourselves to just, get to know our neighbors a little bit more, such as opportunities as International Festival or coming down and speaking and getting involved and educating oneself. I think it makes Holland that much more a place that people are drawn to. So thank you.
Any other comments from council members? Seeing none, one more motion I would entertain at this time.
Move to adjourn.
Moved by Vreeman. Is there support? Support by Byrd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
What'd you guys have for